So all the classes that I teach that are their core classes have to deal with vocation and employment skills, and then my coworker handles all of the, she has a social skills class, technology class, that kind of thing. So when they first come in, the first semester, one of their job classes that they take is called Career Exploration. This is kind of where we first start with, okay, where are you at? What kind of skills do you have? That kind of thing. So we go through, we do career assessments, look at personality, interests, skills, values, all that good stuff. And then from there, we do industry studies. So we look at particular industries, kind of break down what types of jobs are in those industries. Something that I'm hoping to start implementing in the next year or two is to go on industry tours, so to actually go out into the community and see what does that job look like in real life. And then we do a lot of goal setting. So obviously we do career goal setting, professional goals, personal goals, academic goals, just so that everything is, we kind of have that light at the end of the tunnel, like what is our main goal here. And then they go through the technology course. The first one is that first semester, and that all is kind of essential technology that they would need for the workplace. And we also have a partner who funds this assistive technology where students can take, he provides iPads, and the technology on there allows them to take videos and pictures and create a sequencing of how to complete a task. So say they want to make coffee in the morning. They can go through each step of that, taking the water canister out, filling that. They can either take a video or a picture of it. They can narrate it. So we're using that technology, getting them started learning that. And then the hopes is that once they get into their internships, that they're using that technology to help them learn their job tasks so that they can become independent quicker instead of relying on a job coach or a supervisor to ask questions. If they get lost, they can just reference their technology on their iPad. Different tasks that they may have. So that's kind of where we get started. Another thing that we're looking to implement too as well is some job shadowing within that first year, because we don't do internships until year 2. So that's kind of something that we're looking to do in the future as well.
Okay, so again, I am super brand new, so I wasn't there in the beginning of this semester, so I spoke with my teacher, and so what they said was they began working on, self-awareness and realizing what their goals were for the future. Upon entering into the program, they are given an interest inventory that they got from Career Shines. I don't know if any of you use that, but it is very good. Highly recommend it. Then they set up goal-setting sessions with each of our students to figure out what their long-term life goals are, what is the end game for them. And then they know some target points, that way that they can add extra lessons into, our curriculum throughout the year to help them. They, of course, are introduced to their CTE instructors, and again, the job coaches didn't come till later, but, we try to build that relationship once we got introduced so that they could build the trust, so that they know that they can come to us, about anything and everything from life skills to, things that are going on at home or about their CTE classes. And we kind of walk through our roles and let them know, kind of what the year is going to be like, what to expect. We only have 2 CTE classes right now. That is culinary and carpentry. We're hoping to add to that later. But they spend half of their day in the classrooms. So we do instructional support with our teachers, so they have lessons throughout the day, and then the other half of the day we go into our CTE classes and we're hands-on. I am the job coach for culinary, so we are hands-on in the kitchen for half the day. We have so much fun. We eat lots of food, and we learn lots of new skills. So this first semester, I stayed kind of right with them and helped them throughout what they're learning what they're doing. I learned myself because I did not know how to cook. But so now this semester, I'm going to back away a little bit more and let them have a little bit more leeway in the classroom and hope to grow.
Okay, Iris, I think you skipped my slide for the first question, so that's okay. So our initial steps at Santa Fe College. First, when the student comes in, we have pre-interview questions, initial interview questions, and I have a copy here. You guys can take a look at. Thank you. You're welcome. A student gets a copy, as well as if they given us permission for their parent or legal guardian. These are questions that's coming from different categories, from academics, from independent living, campus and community engagement, self-determination skills. So clearly I focus on the independent living questions, as well as I forgot career development and employment. So I focus on those. And some of the questions in the employment is just clearly asked if you have a job, do you want a job? Would you like to work outside, inside, in an office? Do you have VR? What's your VR status? So right in the initial setup, we're learning about their career goals or where they want to be. So we use that document. We also we have a STAR plan meeting. STAR stands for Students Transition into Adult Roles, and that came from Project 10. And it's a person-centered training tool that we use throughout the process. So again, we're gaining knowledge of what their career interests and goal. It also tackles what they want to do in the next 5 years, courses they may be interested in taking. They also go through orientation. During the orientation, they're required to take a career assessment, and we currently use something called Career Coach. So if they're coming in and they have no idea where they want to, develop a career in or a job, they can take that career assessment and check out the results and see if they agree with it or disagree, and we'll go from there. The other thing that we use is, which I mentioned in the questions, VR, just learning the VR status. Most of our students get jobs because we are really connected and have a relationship with VR through the process. So just learning, first of all, if they're a client of VR. If they're not, I sit there and also fill out a referral for them at that time. If they do have VR, I find out who's their counselor, where are they in the process, do they have a plan already, who's their vendor. So we try to figure out those things. And so we use those initial steps to try to gain the knowledge of what kind of job they want, how can we improve their career, and we go from there. Okay.
A lot of students who come in, like you just said, you have 2 career pathways. Do you have pathways, but we also have students who come in, like I have one. And anyway, what do you do if they're undecided? Like they don't know, or they say, I want to be an audio engineer, and that requires multiple degrees or whatever. Like I'm just curious. And then do you do any assessments? Like I was looking at the questions, like sometimes the students' perceptions may not be as accurate as the reality. Like, so we've talked about, I don't know if you've heard of the T-TAP assessment, like where you do different skill tasks. I don't know. So I'm just curious if any of you do anything like that.
Yeah, well, we do career assessments, and we also, if someone is undecided, we take them along and try to give them based on their regular hobbies or things they like to do, and give them suggestions. Or later I'll speak on how they have required internships. So it may be something they're wavering on, and if they have an experience, they can tell us if they liked it or didn't. So we use that as well.
And so for us, so our students have to choose. So they take up seats in their program, so they become almost essentially a full-time student in those classes. But what we do we just got through with our interview process, so I was able to sit in on that this time. And so we do have assessments for both culinary and carpentry. We see for culinary, we did how was your whisking technique? Do you know what this is? And we had them measure like rice from one bin to another using specific, measuring tools. Put a cup of rice in a fourth of a teaspoon type thing. We just kind of made up stuff as we went, but I documented everything that we did. And then for carpentry, our other job coach made a board, and he had like nails and screws, and so they had to use the tools. So we just kind of saw where they were and what best fit their needs. And so if they were kind of undecided, then we can kind of know how to steer them a little bit. But most of them kind of know where they want to go.
Yeah, for us, we have, they graduate with a credential in community employment. So we don't have students that are majoring in a specific area. But obviously, when they get a job, we want to help point them in one direction. So, for example, the ability level thing, that's something we go through a lot in the career exploration class, talking about like what skills, abilities do you have? What does that mean? Like, what is an ability? What does that really mean? We had a student who he wanted to be a 911 dispatcher. He just wasn't going to do that, So that's where the industry studies kind of came from, like looking at, okay, public service. What's that industry look like? What are some positions, some jobs that are in that industry that match your skills and abilities? So after kind of going through and each student looking at their personal skills and abilities and interests, and then looking at the industry that they were interested in. Every one of them came in saying, I want to do something. Some of them, they'd already had that talk with a parent or something that like, okay, I think this really fits me best. I'm really interested in, X job, but I know that this is a better fit for me, that kind of thing. And then the job shadowing is a piece that we want to start incorporating because it allows them to try it out. Maybe the job shadowing is just a 2-hour, one-day experience, and maybe you do 5 of those throughout the semester in different areas that you're interested in, or, it's in one industry, but you try out different jobs in that industry. So that's kind of our tools that we have to use to help them see what's out there, see what's in their industry, especially if the ability level is not aligning with what they really want to do and that kind of thing. So. And the student that wanted to be a 911 dispatcher is now working for the Public Works Department in the area. So he definitely is still right there in that public service industry. So.
That's it? Okay, so how we enhance employability skills with students. Every month I do a workshop with the students, usually on health and wellness, employability skills, and what's the other one? Career. I already said employability skills. Okay. With the employability skills, they're learning how to do resumes, learn how to fill out a job application, skills in professionalism, soft skills that employers are looking for. So they're gaining that knowledge and skills in these workshops. They're required to have a one-on-one meeting with me once a week. These meetings are from 30 minutes to an hour. And like I said, it's one-on-one, it's individualized, and I'm there for any advising. I'll ask how their courses are going. We'll follow up on job applications, if there's any updating to resumes need to be done. And one of the things that they really love, I work with them of creating a virtual portfolio, so they enjoy putting pictures. We use Wix.com. So they really enjoy that. Mock interviews, so the one-on-one time is specifically for them, and really try to get them a job and maintain that job. We also have classes with embedded certifications. For instance, we have direct care. So when they take our direct care class, they are leaving with 2 certifications, one in HIPAA privacy training, also in bloodborne pathogens. We have our CNA class, which they're leaving with CPR and first aid. We have our food safety handlers class. They're leaving with the Serve Safe certification. So they're leaving horticulture. They're leaving with the OSHA tool safety certification. So many of our classes have embedded certifications. So even if they don't find a job, they are actually leaving with some type of certification that can lead to a job. Also required internships. These can be paid or volunteer. Most of the time, we help arrange these internships right on our campus, and students enjoy that and get that done. And then the second question here is how it's different from what they participated in high school. So recently, we've had meetings with some of our school board in Alachua County and learned that years ago they used to have these community-based trainings for the students, and currently they're no longer getting that type of training. So they're coming to us without those type of trainings. So of course we have more options for them when they're coming to us, and it's found out that it's more individualized when they come to us. Like in high school, it may have been more in group settings and not really individualized. So those are some of the things that we have seen that has been different from what they've gained in their high school.
Okay, so for us, again, we haven't had anybody that has completed the program yet, so since we're new. But we are just working on teaching them the skills that they'll need for employability. Right now, for the role development, for the coursework, our program is more specific to what they need to learn into their CTE classes, because those are the fields that they're going to go out into specifically after they leave. But we're also teaching them to be more independent. We learned that that was really quick. That was something that they very much so lacked. There was a big need for them to learn how to be more independent in all aspects of their life. And we're teaching them the ability to make their own decisions. They haven't really had to do a whole lot of that, so we are working on that. We're also working on the awareness of what it takes for more independent living for their future. A lot of them want to get out, they want to be on their own, and they don't know what it takes. So we are working in lessons about bills and budgeting, and we even had them go find their own apartment online. They went and they found their own car. They had their food bills, their grocery bills. We did all of that with them. We talked about transportation and so much more. So then we started working on self-advocacy and self-awareness. That was something that we realized that right off the bat, that was another huge, huge need for our students. And then, so we do a lot of group work. We do some individualization, like planning time with them, but more than that, we do a lot of group work that comes in with journal entries. We do the mock interviews as well, but we have the students do them amongst themselves, so we pair them up. One may have a script, the other may have to come in, shake their hands, show how that they would be dressed, talk about how they'd be beneficial to that particular industry. And so that has been a lot. They love that. That's a lot of fun for them. And it just kind of gives them an idea of what the process is like, what they have to go through, and what is expected. And then we kind of critique it after they're done. What could you have done better? What do you think that your classmate could have done better? How can we, work on this? And what should we do from here?
Okay, so after they move on from career exploration, when they start their second semester, the class that I teach is professional career development. So this is, we worked with our office for career development on campus, and their philosophy, they have a course that their department teaches for any student that is wanting to get an internship or a job. It has everything compiled that you need to do, all the tools, all the materials that you'll need in order to go out and successfully obtain an internship or a job upon graduation. So I am basically teaching a section of that course. So this class does just that. It has our students. I have a couple other traditional students in the course. We partner with their offices, advisors. They come in and do a few sessions on resumes, interviewing. This class culminates in a final project called their personal marketing package. This includes a complete application to an actual position that they found online. They have a resume and a cover letter for that as well. We create a personal brand, brand idea. So we go through and we talk about professionalism. How do you want to be presented in the professional world? What does that mean? That is all kind of what we call your personal brand. They come out learning company research. What do you need to look for in a company? What are your values? What is your mission? How can we make sure that that is aligning to the companies that you're looking at? And then also creating new professional goals. Now that we have found a targeted area or a targeted company or companies that you might want to actually get into, what professional goals really align with that. So along with FGCU's professional development office's philosophy is that we need to give everybody the tools, and then they need to fly on their own. So we're kind of going to kind of take that philosophy on. Obviously, there are always going to be students that will need the extra support from our office, but we're going to take that personal marketing package, that project, and they're going to actually apply for that job and see if they can get that internship. And then that will then be their first internship that they will start the following year. This has already become successful without me even trying, and that's the next question is what was surprising. It motivated students. They loved this project. Everything in this class had meaning. The traditional students that I have in my class are all on top of it. They love it. I have one student that's already, she's about to graduate this summer, and she was already kind of in an internship in a big company, and she's like, this was awesome. You brought it all into a new light because I'd never had, it was more just here, write your resume and that kind of thing, and a special ed teacher is going to put their flair on it. And so it was nice to hear that they appreciated the way that the information was presented and the extra meaning behind it. I feel like everything that I do in my classes, especially for the employment ones, I want to make sure that the kids know that this is meaningful. Do your best on this assignment because you can literally take this assignment to a job interview someday. So yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing that we do to help really enhance those employment skills before they get into the internships. But beyond that, they'll have internships. We have weekly seminar meetings when they're in their internship. So their internship is technically their class, but they'll meet with me once a week as a group to just kind of debrief on what happened that week. We'll go through and talk about different skills each week as kind of our talking points. And then beyond that, they do take electives. So in their year 2, they will take 2 or 3, depending on the semester, electives each semester. And those are all required. They can choose anything they want, but they need to be within the area of interest that they decided on by the end of that first school year. Our students are going to be getting into electives this fall, so we haven't fully seen that come to fruition yet. But they've all selected electives within their career area. My counterpart, Alyssa, is the one who is the liaison between the professor and our office and our students. So I think that that's all gonna go really well. But so that's kind of where we're at. And I feel like the biggest thing that's different from us than high school is that it's actually go time. The resume that we're creating is actually the resume that they're going to take. The cover letters that we're creating are actually the letters that they're going to take. The mock interview questions that we ask them are actually applicable to whatever industry that they're going into. And we do that several different times. So that's actually one of the things that we do in that second class. They have 3 different times that they have to go to the Office of Professional Development and go through a complete professional mock interview, which they think is just like awesome. So yeah, that's kind of like the biggest difference I feel like is we definitely try to keep it as collegiate as possible. I email them and call them scholars. Like I just try to really make sure that they're taking it serious. All of our students want to be there, but we just try to make sure that it's that extra level of like, the government is not telling you you have to be here today. You want to be here, you need to get a job, and we're taking it seriously. Sure.
Can you maybe talk a little bit about the relationships or partnerships with like an internship site? Like, we're in the process of trying to explain to our partners, the difference between an internship and a job, first of all, and then how to work with this population. And so it sounds like you guys already have established sites-ish, but how you guys go about like onboarding new partners and that whole process.
Yeah, so we created a business advisory council. So we have 7 different members they span different industries throughout our community. That's been very helpful. They have the contacts that are needed to actually get to the person in HR that is really the person to talk to, instead of just calling a location and talking to a manager. That can work sometimes, but I've had a lot of hit and miss with that. So I feel like that really helped kind of change the game of finding the more corporate person that is really going to be able to help us implement. Our students, I have several students who they just went out and used the tools that we were working on, and they found it. FGCU requires all students to have service learning hours. That was something I did not anticipate, but it was a good thing in the end. So our students, their first semester, we got them started with service learning. One thing that we asked of them is that try to do service in your area of interest or an area that you might be interested in, that you can kind of try it out. You're fulfilling your service hours, but you're also getting something out of it as well. I have 2 students that now have essentially lined up an internship for themselves from their service learning sites, which was huge, and I didn't anticipate that, but it's really worked out. A few students have already had jobs coming in, so they had connections. So kind of a mixed bag of stuff, but I would say, like, if you're starting totally clean slate, the Business Advisory Council had been really helpful, because those were people in the community that were committed enough to our cause that they were on our council, they meet with us, they're providing contacts in the community, which was really helpful.
Because I interviewed our employers and asked, like, would you be willing to be on a business advisory committee for this? So what is the purpose and how did you recruit them? Like, what did you explain to them? What's your role as the business advisory council?
Yeah, so our main goal, we meet once a semester, and we just talk about trends in the industry. So like I said, we don't have any 2 people on our council that are in the same industry. So we have like a hospitality person, we have an education person, we have an entrepreneurial business person. So we tried to kind of span the different industries, especially that our students were currently interested in. The nice thing was we had current students to say that, okay, of our 9 students, this is what they're interested in, so we're gonna ask people that are in those industries. And we have thought about maybe rotating those people in and out every couple years based on the current students' interests. We had a few connections, personal connections to some of the people that are on the council, so that did help because we knew them personally. We have a few people from our campus that are, so the College of Entrepreneurship, one of the directors that started that, she is on it. We just kind of sent out letters and said, hey, we're creating this. We want to know the trends in your particular industry, and we also would like the facilitation in us connecting with particular, companies, businesses, whatever in the industry. I think we sent out 10 letters and 8 came back and agreed. So, but some of those were personal connections. We already knew that they were going to say yes and that kind of thing. A few were university-based people. So, yeah, I don't know that we had any special trick there. It was just kind of worked out.
Okay, so this actually played so good into my answer for this question. So share 1 to 3 lessons learned in making connections with employers in the area of your FPCTP's credentials. So we also have an advisory council. Every program at our school has one. And we were no different, so we had to go out, although ours was not as easy as your guys. We kind of struggled in getting some people. We did have a couple people with personal connections. We did a lot of phone calls and tried to get some of the corporate people to come in, and it wasn't always so easy. We got told no a lot. But since then, we have compiled a list of people, and we're going to talk to them a lot earlier this year. It was just kind of sprung on us this last year. So we're going to be a little bit more prepared and start working on that a lot earlier. But they came in. We actually had our students in class, so it was kind of neat because they were able to see kind of what these people wanted in their industries. What were they looking for? And actually, one of the students stood up and said, "May I ask questions?" And they were like, "Absolutely." And she said, "Whenever I come to interview for you, what are you looking for in an employee?" And they were blown away that that's what she asked. And so they were able to all break it down. Were they looking for, how to act? What kind of needs that they needed to be met? We have one company that works specifically with veterans and students with special needs, which is really neat. And she was explaining that they have openings for it's like a lot of cleaning and food industry job openings. However, you can work at your own pace. And that was super appealing to some of our students because a lot of them were a little bit slower and they knew that. And so they were super excited to learn that you can work at your own pace as long as you followed their instructions and what they wanted, you to do, then you kind of you're on your own. So they really like that aspect. Like I said, we will build on that later. But since we are so new, that is our only story for today.
A couple lessons that I've learned. One, I've been a APD provider myself since 2011, so I've done supported employment through APD for a while, so kind of have those connections in the community already. But just like you heard this morning, the village with our former student, Sienna, there at the village, they have hired 2 of our other former students as well. So we found out that they're very enthusiastic about our program and what the goal we're trying to set for our students. I've also learned that the more smaller or independent businesses are more work better with hiring our students than the bigger businesses. We found that out. I've also found out if I talk to an employer about a student based on his or her interests, they may not very well have that position available, but because they're on the same page with us and our program, they may make another position that will fit for that student and give them a job offer. So I just think it's very important that you all play a part in the students' lives. And these are students that might, when they were born, someone said that they will not be able to go to college one day or they'll never have a job. And so the work that you're doing and speaking out and, employers can see and be open to that. And you're also helping the students. So, yeah.
No, I pretty much kind of shared on this question. Yeah, basically, students and families are a resource bank that when we were creating everything, I felt like a lot of pressure was on me, oh, you got to get all these kids internships and then going through that first year of courses and meeting families and all of this, they really have a lot of resources. We don't have residential right now. I guess that's the only thing I've kind of shared about this question. Because we don't have residential, all of our families and students are local. So they have had internships at their high school. They've maybe had previous jobs. Families may have businesses, or we have one student, her dad's a dentist. He was like, if you ever have anybody interested in that, working in a medical office, that kind of thing. So that's been kind of nice to kind of have in the background of like, yes, we have to do everything we can, but also we should lean on them first and see kind of what they can come up with. And I'm excited about kind of using that career development course as a launch pad for them to go out and find their internships. And if that doesn't work, then we're here. Our business advisory council's here. We can help support them. But I think too, it'll mean a little bit more to them if they got it on their own. So yeah, we're excited about that. Okay, so how do you enter students? So essentially we have 2 consecutive internships with supports as appropriate. So our hope is that those internships, one or both, or maybe they intern at the same site, but the internship is elevated the second time in some way, but that those result in a job offer. So that's kind of, if they get an internship on their own, then my job is to make sure that they're as supported as possible and successful in that internship. And then also that I'm cultivating that relationship with the employer, that there's this understanding that if this works out for you and it's beneficial for the student, then this should result in a job offer of some sort, hopefully satisfactory to what the student is looking for. And then our business advisory council, leaning on them that if, for some reason the internships didn't work out, which I hope we never have that, but if they didn't work out, using that business advisory council to find where is an area, where is an employer that would work based on the internships that they had, maybe what did or didn't work, and kind of going from there. We do also have a relationship with VR, and all of our students are involved in VR currently, so leaning on them as well to help brainstorm, and it's kind of at that point, a full team effort.
So how we ensure that students are employed with their credentials. One, again, just that person-centered training, the STAR plan. We really go by, this is what the student wants, and so we try to go through that goal. And then we go and assign classes that will be related to that career goal. And also the one-on-one meetings, just advising and consulting during the job search and employability skills. And last but not least is, the VR status overall. The students come in, when they first come in, I find out if they have, if they're a client of VR. If they're not, we get them set up with VR, and we follow them throughout, the process from orientation to the writing of the plan. And then when they have their VR vendor, the students sign waiver for the VR counselor and vendor to speak with me about their case. In a week, every other week, I may be following up with the vendor. So we're all, playing in this teamwork, trying to get the student the job, and based on their employment goal. And that's one of the things that I do when they have a plan with VR, I look at what is that employment goal and try to find jobs that's related to that. And so with the courses and advisement, we have been successful in getting our students jobs in their career interests.
So we are highly anticipating the day that we can actually dive more into this, but for right now, just kind of piggyback off what these ladies say, we also have a really good relationship with VR, and they come in, they're actually on our advisory council as well, so they came in and talked to our students and to our staff about kind of what their goal is for our students. They are all under VR. They have to be into VR to be into our program. And then just those internships, again, we're not there, but we're hoping that those internships will also turn into full-time jobs down the road. So we have several different options there, so hopefully that will help for us as well. And this is totally not a question, but I wanted to put a plug in here for us. So this year we kind of branched out and tried something new for our program, and it's been a really big hit. So for some of you, if you guys want to try it, you're more than welcome. But we created a Facebook, and we did, it's called Okaloosa Up. And we have kind of been blogging kind of what our students do so that we can get the name out for the area. And we've actually gotten a lot of students interested, and we did several different interviews with different people who saw us on Facebook. So that might be something you guys might be interested in.
Sure, what you got?
Do you guys have any students, like speakers coming to your classrooms or any field trips, something you can provide us for that?
So for us, we have an issue right now we're trying to work on with transportation for field trips. So that is our holdback from that. But our CTE classes do have speakers come in. So I'm in culinary, so I know like different restaurant owners or different chefs have come in and talked to them, and our class is able to sit in on those lectures. And so they're able to ask questions and stuff. And then those business owners have actually offered the gen ed and our population as well job offers, kind of like within class, although we know that our students aren't quite ready for that yet. They have that kind of in the back of their head of where that they might want to go in the future.
So we have speakers coming into our class. I teach an artist entrepreneurship class. So we have different speakers in the artist field that comes in. We've also had speakers come into our hospitality class and train the students as well in red carpet customer service training.
The Office for Career Development has come in several times to my class. And my coworker, she teaches the Technology 1 class, so the provider of that assistive tech for their internships, he comes in and does some trainings on that in that class. But that's one thing that I'm hoping with our Business Advisory Council we can tap into, having some speakers in different industries come in throughout their coursework. And then we did go on one field trip. My coworker teaches a social skills class, and everything is kind of through the lens of employment. So everything was, kind of social skills for work and that kind of thing. But the field trip was a dinner show. So we went to a dinner show, and they had to sit all, we sat kind of in the back and just kind of assessed, and they had to go through the whole dinner show and kind of use their skills and their small talk kind of training and that kind of thing. So and that was fun. No, but so we've talked about having the first internship that they do be an on-campus internship, just because we might have a little bit more say over that. But then now I've got like half my kids out there like, oh, I've got a place. So that kind of went out the window. But I have a few kids that are on the lower end of our group that are probably going to be placed on campus for that first internship, just to kind of really see really where they're at in a job setting. And then hopefully that second internship can be out in the community that will then result in employment in the community. But even if it was that they got hooked up with an office on campus and they did really great and they wanted to continue, and then that ended up in a job offer for them, we have no, we're not opposed to that at all. and our campus is not either. So it's just going to probably depend on each individual student and kind of where they're at and what they're interested in. So a few of them came in with some decent job experience, and so they have gotten their internships through connections from their previous employments. A few of them have gotten them through their service learning sites. And then I had one girl just like apply to something and got hooked up with that. I had another student who frequented a GameStop and was kind of friends with the manager there, and he was like, "Hey, could I do my internship there?" And I was like, "Yeah, if they want to have you." And so he kind of got hooked up that way. So yeah, just kind of all a little bit different. And then I still have some that we're gonna have to be more instrumental in helping them find theirs.
If no one has any other questions, I brought some statistics on our program. So we've had 36 students enrolled since becoming an FPCTP in 2017. 83% completed our Project Saint program, and 100% completers or non-completers earned at least one professional credential. And 14% started their own business. So not only if we're trying to encourage getting a job, we've had a student who went through our horticulture program and ended up with having his own beekeeping business at his home and make honey. And then we have a student who became a photographer entrepreneur. And then we have a student, his family owned a farm and he went into a goat farming business. And then 64% employed within a year of graduating are employed or leaving the program. So our goal is to at least for our students to have a job within a year of after completing our program. But most of our students receive a job before even completing. Some get it the first semester, so that's really exciting.